let's get one thing straight. Caitlin Clark didn't just sign a Nike deal. She walked into the room, signed the dotted line, launched a legacy, and then casually broke the internet on her way out. You already knew she was everywhere, breaking scoring records, filling arenas, sending ESPN's ratings through the roof. But the Nike deal? That wasn't just another milestone. That was the coronation, the global stamp of approval. The moment she stopped being just the face of women's basketball and became something even bigger, a brand, a movement, a market force of nature. If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe. And look, we've seen signature shoes before. We've seen logos, merch drops, hype campaigns. But what Caitlin Clark just pulled off, that was history in a hoodie. A moment so loud that it echoed across continents, across sports lines, and, let's be honest, shook some other athletes to their core. Enter Angel Reese. Now, before we dive into the tension, let's give her flowers. Reese is a baller, a competitor, a walking headline. She knows how to drive attention, how to stir the pot, and how to back it up with skill. Her trash talk at LSU? Iconic. Her NCAA run? Legendary. And her Reebok deal? A big move. She signed on as the face of the brand's women's basketball revival, and even got co-signed by Shaquille O'Neal. But while Reebok was whispering about comebacks, Nike was yelling. Because Caitlin's drop wasn't just successful, it was unprecedented. Her logo alone caused a marketing frenzy. Her jerseys outsold NBA veterans. And when her signature shoes dropped, instant sellout. We're talking faster than concert tickets. Bots were working overtime. Resellers had field days. And regular fans left refreshing their browsers, wondering if they were just too slow for greatness. So imagine being Angel Reese right now, watching all that go down, watching your biggest rival, your meter-ordained foil, not only dominate the game, but practically take over the entire sports merch industry in one fell swoop. That's not just frustrating. That's infuriating. And if her Twitter activity is anything to go by, yeah, Angel is not exactly loving this moment. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. In this new era of women's basketball, the court is only half the battle. The other half? Branding, storytelling, global reach. And on that scoreboard, Caitlin's up by 30. Her marketing machine is running on jet fuel. Nike didn't just throw money at her. They invested in her. Carefully, strategically, they waited, they watched, and then they launched. Not with some off-the-shelf shoe, either, but with a signature product line, an international ad campaign, and a logo that screams dynasty loading. It wasn't an endorsement. It was a takeover. Meanwhile, Angel's Reebok rollout has felt quieter, more forced. The kind of move that makes you wonder if the brand saw a cultural wave coming and just scrambled to grab the next best name. And Reese, for all her charisma, hasn't been able to translate her visibility into Clark-level traction. Her gear hasn't gone viral. Her name hasn't hit resale markets. And her shoes? Still sitting in carts. Now here's the kicker. Angel knows this. She feels it, and she's reacting in real time. Cryptic social posts. Passive-aggressive interviews. You don't have to be a psychologist to clock that tension. Because let's be real. When you built your brand on confidence, dominance, and being that girl, it stings to see someone else suddenly embody all of that at a global scale. Especially someone who's become the media darling by doing it her own way. Because Caitlin, she's not flashy. She doesn't trash talk. She doesn't chase headlines. She just wins. And then sells out your favorite store on the way home. It's like watching a luxury sports car and a muscle car drag race. Angel's got the flash, the volume, the heat. But Caitlin, she's just smooth, efficient, quietly devastating. And when the numbers come in, you realize she's already crossed the finish line. That contrast is what's making this rivalry so impossible to look away from. It's not just about basketball. It's about branding philosophy. Angel plays loud. Caitlin plays clean. Angel markets drama. Caitlin markets legacy. And when the dust settles, Only one of those approaches is making global waves and signing checks that don't bounce. Let's talk numbers. Caitlin Clark's jersey is outselling most of the NBA. Her Nike drop shattered projections. Her signature logo is now a pop culture symbol. There are people in Paris and Tokyo and Sao Paulo rocking her merch who have never watched a WNBA game. That's what global marketing infrastructure does. That's the Nike machine in motion. They didn't just tap into her talent. They projected it across the entire planet. Angel's Reebok rollout? Still largely domestic. Still niche. Still trying to gain traction. It's not bad. It's just not enough. In a world where attention spans are currency and cloud is king, you need more than just talent. You need scale. You need story. You need a movement. And Caitlin? She's all three. She's a girl next door turned global powerhouse. She's what happens when surgical precision meets world-class branding. She's a blueprint now, not just for women's sports, but for athlete branding in the modern age. And Angel Reese? She's watching all of it in real time. And she is not happy. Because while Caitlin's winning the merch game, the endorsement game, and the global fan base game, Angel's still trying to convince people she belongs in the same conversation. And look, she does. She's talented. She's passionate. She's marketable. But here's the brutal reality. Caitlin got there first, and now she's everywhere. The rivalry, once fun and fiery, is starting to feel like a branding cautionary tale. That being loud isn't enough. That drama doesn't equal dollars. That the quiet girl with the killer shot might just outplay you on and off the court. It's not over, of course. Not by a long shot. Angel's still in the game. Reebok could still play their cards right. She could still level up her branding, take some risks, and lean into her strengths. But if she wants to catch Caitlin, she's going to need more than personality. She's going to need strategy. Because in this new era of sports celebrity, the court is just a launch pad. The real game is in culture, commerce, and connection. And Caitlin Clark? She's already on her victory lap. So now the spotlight's shifting. Not to the next sneaker drop. Not to the next buzzy headline. But to a very simple, very loaded question. Can Angel Reese close the gap? Or is Caitlin Clark already too far ahead, coasting calm, and casually rewriting the future of women's basketball while holding a sold-out signature sneaker in one hand and her custom Nike logo in the other? You tell me, because from where we're sitting, the Clark era is just beginning, and the rest of the league is scrambling to catch up. Comment below who's really got next. And don't forget to hit subscribe, because the drama is far from over, and we're watching every crossover, every deal, and every side-eye in real time. And listen, if you're still thinking this whole Clark versus Reese thing is just a media-fueled rivalry, just another flashy headline for engagement clicks, let's set the record straight. This isn't petty drama. This is branding warfare. Two elite athletes. Two wildly different marketing paths. And only one throne. Because Caitlin Clark's not just collecting trophies anymore. She's cornering the market. And the thing that's quietly sending shockwaves through the entire sports industry, she's doing it without raising her voice. She's calm, composed, every step calculated. She doesn't clap back. She doesn't bait headlines. She doesn't throw shade on social. She just signs the biggest Nike contract in the history of women's basketball, unveils a sleek, minimalist logo that looks like it belongs in a luxury capsule drop, and watches the world melt down trying to get her merch. That's what makes this moment so intense. Because Angel Reese does play loud. She does clap back. She built her brand on the idea that confidence should never be toned down. That being bold, brash, and unapologetically loud was the new gold standard. And honestly, it worked for a while. Angel was the face of a new era. Flashy nails, icy chains, viral moments, attitude. Her "you can't see me" gesture in the NCAA finals will live forever in sports history. She became a cultural lightning rod, a Twitter trending topic, a meme, a movement. People were tuning in for her, even if they weren't watching the game. But that kind of spotlight, it fades fast if you don't back it up with infrastructure. And that's where Caitlin Clark left skid marks. Because while Angel was riding the hype wave, Caitlin was building a brand fortress, not chasing moments, but creating legacy. The Nike partnership wasn't rushed. It was patient, years in the making, thoughtfully designed. It had storytelling. It had global strategy. It had the kind of rollout that turns a logo into a cultural stamp of legitimacy. And now, that logo is everywhere. On shoes, on shirts, on timelines, on kids who've never picked up a basketball in their life, but still want to rock the CC like it's the swoosh 2.0. That's brand transcendence. That's empire-level status. And Angel sees it. You know she sees it. Because here's the thing about top-tier athletes. Competitiveness isn't just confined to the scoreboard. It leaks into everything. Endorsements, coverage, fan bases, respect. And nothing stings more than watching someone you once stood shoulder to shoulder with suddenly tower over the entire conversation. That's the part we don't talk about enough. The psychology of the branding game. How it must feel to open your phone every day and see the world treating your biggest rival like the second coming of Jordan. How every post, every headline, every sold-out sneaker drop slowly chips away at your claim to the crown. Reebok tried. They really did. They handed Angel a major campaign, gave her some commercial shine, even leaned into the underdog versus golden child narrative. But the impact? Muted. The merch didn't explode. The shoes didn't trend. The global market barely flinched. Meanwhile, Caitlin's drop had people texting group chats like it was a supreme collab. Entire friend groups coordinating online at 10 a.m., hitting refresh over and over, and still missing out. That's not hype. That's demand. That's influence. And maybe, deep down, that's what's got Angel re-snapping. Not because she isn't talented. She is. Not because she isn't a star. She is. But because in the eyes of the world, Caitlin Clark has become the blueprint. And that realization hurts. Especially when the narrative starts to turn. When fans go from Angel versus Caitlin to Caitlin and everyone else. When articles stop using the word rivalry and start using words like runaway success. That's not just tough. It's humbling. You start wondering, did I pick the wrong brand? Did I miss my window? Is there still time to pivot? And if I try, will it even matter? Because once an athlete owns a cultural moment the way Caitlin does right now, it's not easy to break through. She's not just trending, she's cemented. Her name is now shorthand for excellence, for marketability, for future billionaire moves. That's not just good for her. That's dangerous for everyone else. And here's the poetic twist. All of this started with basketball. Two players battling it out in college. Different styles, different energies, same ambition. Back then, the spotlight needed both of them. The rivalry made headlines. The contrast made content. But now, the gap has widened. Caitlin didn't just step into the spotlight. She expanded it. And now Angel's stuck in that shadow, watching the world reward subtlety over swagger, finesse over fire. The fans feel it too. You can see the shift in the comments, in the reposts, in the energy online. It used to be 50-50. Team Angel, Team Caitlin. Now, it's starting to feel like 80-20ths. And not because Angel's gotten worse, but because Caitlin's leveled up so fast, it's left everyone blinking. And let's be real, this has got to be one of the biggest marketing wake-up calls in recent sport history. Because talent? It's not enough. Headlines? Not enough. Even charisma? Not enough. What matters now is ownership of your brand, your story, your market. Caitlin Clark showed up with all three, wrapped in Nike packaging, and launched like a tech startup with sneakers. Angel's still playing catch-up. And honestly, that's okay. It's not over. Not even close. Reese is still a powerhouse. Still a star. Still capable of flipping the script if she wants to. But she's going to have to work. Not just on her game, but on her brand, her business, her narrative. She needs a rebrand, a relaunch, something bold, strategic, fresh. Because right now, Caitlin Clark is not slowing down. She's on a global tour of dominance, selling out drops, winning over kids, adults, fans, execs, making the impossible look routine, and doing it all with this effortless, almost frustrating humility that makes people love her even more. She's a storm in the calm, the fire in the ice. An angel? She's caught in the middle, reacting, swiping, watching, and probably wondering how on earth her loudest moves are somehow being drowned out by Caitlin Clark's silence. But here's the plot twist. We need both. Women's basketball needs Angel Reese just as much as it needs Caitlin Clark. The rivalry, the fire, the passion, that's what drives interest. That's what gets people to watch. Caitlin's a classic, the clean-cut icon. Angel's the spark, the edge, the chaos. And maybe this is just the middle of the story. Because what if this isn't Angel Reese falling behind, but loading up for the comeback? What if her next move isn't frustration, but focus? Because if there's one thing Angel's always known how to do, it's prove people wrong. So stay tuned. The game's not over. The brand wars are just heating up. And if Angel wants to rewrite the story, now's the time. Because Caitlin Clark may be on top for now, but the court is always one shot away from a comeback. And let's be real, you feel the tension in the air. This isn't just a rivalry anymore, it's a race, a cultural foot race, a branding showdown disguised as a basketball saga. And right now, Caitlin Clark is sprinting ahead, clean, polished, and terrifyingly efficient. Angel Reese, she's stuck deciding whether to catch up or burn the whole thing down and start over. Because the truth is, it's getting hard to ignore the optics. Every time Clark drops something, be it a commercial, a shoe, a warm-up shirt, it sets the internet on fire. SportsCenter reposts it. Fashion blogs analyze it. Your co-worker, who doesn't even watch basketball, yeah, she's suddenly asking if you've seen the new Caitlin Clark Nikes. Meanwhile, Angel's posts, whether it's a collab with fashion brand or a new Reebok campaign, struggle to crack the algorithm. Engagement feels forced, like people are reacting out of loyalty, not excitement. And that's dangerous, because in the currency of modern sports fame, organic obsession is everything. So what happened? How did two players who once shared the same spotlight, two women who lit up the NCAA stage like dual supernovas, end up here, with one being treated like a global ambassador for women's basketball and the other fighting to stay in the conversation? The answer isn't simple, but part of it is about timing. Caitlin Clark struck at the exact right moment, right as the WNBA was rebranding, right as women's sports were trending upwards, right as Gen Z was hunting for authentic idols who felt both elite and relatable. And Clark? She nailed the moment. The skill, the humility, the clean aesthetic, the I'm just here ball vibe. It aligned perfectly with a cultural appetite that was starving for someone like her. Nike saw it. ESPN saw it. Fans saw it. And they didn't just watch her rise, they invested in it. Angel, on the other hand, entered the same moment with a different energy. Flashier, louder, edgier, more polarizing. She wasn't trying to blend in. She wanted to disrupt. And it worked to a point. But disruption is exhausting. And if it's not backed up by flawless execution, the hype fizzles. That's the harsh truth of modern fame. If you don't keep evolving, the culture will move on without you. Right now, the culture is sprinting with Caitlin. And Angel, she's watching from the sideline, fuming. You can feel it in her interviews, in her cryptic tweets, in her liked posts. She's frustrated, and honestly, who wouldn't be? She's been counted out before. She's been the villain, the scapegoat, the controversial one. She fought her way into the spotlight, earned it. So to see it slip away while the girl on the other side barely raises her voice, that stings. And what makes it worse? The public loves Clark for it. They see her modesty, her calm, her no-drama demeanor, and they elevate her to sainthood. Meanwhile, Angel's same confidence, her boldness, her defiance, is met with side eyes and rolled eyes. Too cocky, too loud, too much. It's a double standard, and it's infuriating. Because Angel didn't change. The narrative did. And now she's stuck, watching her brand flatten into a footnote, while Caitlin becomes a case study in athlete marketing success. But let's not get it twisted. This story, it's not over. Not even close. Because if there's one thing Angel Reese is good at, better than almost anyone, it's reinvention. She's been doubted since day one. She's been benched, booed, dismissed, and every time she's come back louder, stronger, hungrier. So don't be surprised if this quiet phase is just the eye of the storm. What if Angel's sitting back, watching Clark's rise, not with jealousy but strategy? What if she's studying the blueprint, tweaking her approach, cooking up a full-blown branding reset that flips the narrative in one move? Because right now, that's exactly what she needs. She needs to reboot, to recalibrate, to come back with something bold, not loud for the sake of noise, but loud with purpose, a new vision, a refined message, a reintroduction, something that says, "You thought I peaked? Cute. Watch this." Maybe it's a pivot into high fashion. Maybe it's a collab with a streaming platform. Maybe it's a viral docuseries a la The Last Dance, but unapologetically Reese. Something raw, something personal, something real. Because if Caitlin Clark is the squeaky clean icon, Angel Reese has the opportunity to be the rebel queen, the one who breaks the rules, bends the expectations, and still ends up on the throne. But she can't do it with lukewarm sneaker drops and cryptic tweets. She has to own it, and she has to do it now, because the market moves fast. And as Clark continues to dominate both on the court and in the culture, the window for a Reese comeback brand arc is shrinking. Fast. But here's the twist no one expects. We need both of them. Caitlin Clark is a symbol of what's possible when sports align with polished strategy and precision. Angel Reese is a symbol of what's possible when sports meet defiance, culture, and charisma. One is the future of corporate partnerships. The other is the pulse of the streets. And when they're both firing, it's magic. We've seen glimpses of it before. The energy they bring, whether they're staring each other down in a championship game or side-eyeing each other through press interviews, is electric. It fuels the fandom. It drives viewership. It's the kind of tension that keeps people watching long after the buzzer sounds. So maybe, just maybe, this isn't a fall from grace story for Angel Reese. Maybe it's the slow burn before the explosion. Maybe this is a part of the sports doc where the music dips, the camera lingers, and the narrator says she watched the world fall in love with her rival and then decided to change the game her way. Because yes, Caitlin Clark is winning right now. She's got Nike, the media, the numbers, the love. But Angel's got the grit, the fire, the revenge art potential of a lifetime. And if she plays it right, the comeback will be even more iconic than a rise. So buckle up. The next chapter of this story is loading, and something tells me it's going to snap back hard.